Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
Jordan Beard is Johnson's nephew. Jordan Beard is Jolia's cousin.
On May 12, 2018, Kessler used a pair of scissors to stab and kill her coworker, Jolene Cummings, at the Tangles hair salon in Fernandina Beach, Florida. Kessler reportedly then drove Cummings' car to a parking lot and abandoned it there. She threw Cummings' body in a dumpster from where it was never found. Kessler frequently changed her identity to escape from the police, but she was eventually arrested. During the trial, she lost her temper several times and insulted the people present, even claiming that her attorney was related to the victim.
Jordan Beard is Johnson's nephew. Jordan Beard is Jolia's cousin.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
Jordan Beard is Johnson's nephew. Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
She did not hesitate to lay some accusations on the judge as well.
Sure, I can stay up here and I'm going to say what I want, when I want, how I want, which you silenced me for years. You have silenced me for years. So let everyone know this is just the tip of the iceberg. Jordan Beard, public defender, is Jolene Cummings' cousin, along with his brother Josh. Yeah, you swept it under the rug for 3.5 years, along with her father, her stepdad, who runs the jail, who recently retired. He still comes in.
Correctional officers revealed Kessler's troublesome behaviors in custody.
Used all three of the meals offered to her, began to throw urine and feces under the cell door.
She began to remove feces from styrofoam trays in the back of her cell and smear it on herself in the walls. She began to throw feces at Debbie Smith, Miller, and I.
Kessler was eventually found to be competent to face trial and described the previous few years without her daughter in her victim impact statement, shedding tears as she spoke.
We suffer the greatest nightmare of all. The murder of a beautiful soul that was taken from us. The only thing that keeps us together is faith.
The Nassau County Sheriff was convinced she had committed other murders before.
I don't for 1 second believe that Kimberly Kessler, or whatever name she's going by today, I don't believe this is her first murder. I don't at all. She's evil in the flesh. And as soon as she's sentenced, I want her behind out of our jail because we are fed up with her crap.
Kessler declined to be present in the courtroom during her verdict.
You want to go back downstairs?
Yes.
All right, tear it up. You take her back.
She was convicted of first-degree murder and given a life sentence without any possibility of parole.
This court will adjudicate Kimberly Kessler, the defendant, also known as Jennifer Marie Cyrus, guilty, sentence her to life in prison without any possibility of release or parole.
In an interview, her ex-husband described her as a crazy woman.
I heard something about she had stabbed you with some scissors. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, she was crazy. I can tell you that. She was, I know some crazy women, but she was out there. She had life.
And I think we all see why. Kessler's outbursts were truly viral courtroom moments, but how does it compare to Camia Gamet's case, who killed her boyfriend?
You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead.
The judge is addressing Camia Gamet, who is in court being charged with the murder of her boyfriend, Marcel Hill. In May of 2012, a distress call was made from Gamet's apartment to the police. When they got there, they found Marcel Hill dead and her covered in blood. Although she was arrested, she had a different story once she was in court.
Basically at trial, the way I was portrayed, mostly everything was lies. There was a little bit of truth, but mostly I was convicted off of lies.
However, prosecutors disagreed.
We have no choice but to send her where she will also die. I can't believe she stands before you doing this morning.
The victim's family was given a chance to address the court.
I also remember the cries of help that he screamed as you plunged that knife in and out of his body.
Camia didn't want to go down in silence, and her total lack of remorse made things much worse. The judge was forced to intervene.
You're going to shut your mouth or I'm going to have some duct tape put on it. All right, we'll wait here for a moment so we can get her quiet.
And he had some strong words for her.
You stabbed him no less than 12 times. You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead. You didn't think he was an intruder? You know, maybe one stab wound, okay. Maybe that's self-defense. But you put in 11 more to make sure he was good and dead.
Then it was time for the sentence.
I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well. You know, if this was a death penalty state, you'd be getting the chair.
Camia is still serving her prison term. Most of the time, it's usually local citizens committing crimes. However, sometimes it's actually law enforcement officers who are a threat to the same law they're tasked with protecting, like in the case of Judge Tracie Hunter. This is Tracie Hunter, who is accused of a number of offenses in Ohio, such as theft, forgery, and unauthorized interest in a public contract. Once in court, Judge Tracie did not allow her circumstances to silence her.
I take great exception to your disparagement of my name in this courtroom today. I'm not sure what you meant by the term that this defendant is gaming the system, but be clear here. The only gaming that is going on in Hamilton County is by the Hamilton County Juvenile Court, Judge John Williams.
Her attorney claims she had suffered a lot following several appeals.
She's lost peace of mind. As I said, not knowing when that day was going to come that she'd have to go to jail. That's a lot for one person to have on her shoulders.
It's now time for the judge in charge to pronounce the sentence. First, a warning.
Judge Dinkelhocker, exonerate Judge Hunter now. Drop all charges, restore her good name. I am a taxpayer and a registered voter. I'm a registered voter. Please let Tracie Hunter. She is innocent of all charges. As a concerned citizen and a registered voter, I urge you to exonerate Judge Tracie Hunter now. I'm a registered voter in Ohio. I'm asking that you release Tracie Hunter of all charges. The attempt was to intimidate me in any way. That has flat out failed, okay? I will never, ever, ever bow to that type of pressure, veiled threats, vicious comments, lies about me or anything else.
And now the sentence.
Number one, you pay the cost of these proceedings. Number two, you are to do not violate any laws. Number three, you are to do 6 months in the Hamilton County Justice Center, credit 1 day. Mr. and Ms. Deputy can take her away.
Commotion broke out as soon as he announced the sentence. Judge Tracie's supporters were unable to accept the sentence. Even Judge Tracie put on a show. She was eventually brought into custody. Her supporters persisted in their demonstrations outside. She eventually completed her term, spending nearly 3 months behind bars. Tracie acted unprofessionally as a law enforcement officer. Unfortunately, she wouldn't be the only one. Let's cross over to the medical field where we meet Larry Nassar. This is Larry Nassar, a convicted sex offender in Michigan. According to reports, the former sports medicine physician sexually abused many young athletes under the pretense of medical treatment.
When I was 14 years old, I tore my hamstring in my right leg. This was when he started performing the procedure that we are all now familiar with. We decided that it was medically acceptable to violate a 16-year-old girl.
For 18 years, he served as the team physician for the U.S. women's national gymnastics team. Nassar deceived athletes into thinking he was a reliable friend and counselor.
You have to protect your athletes. You have to let them know that we care. You have to not let them know, but let them feel it. Let them understand it. Let them breathe it.
My picture up on his wall with the Olympians. I thought I mattered to Larry.
Had me so wrapped around your finger, and I still trusted you so much.
At first, Nassar claimed that what he was doing was recognized medical procedures. Then, blaming his young victims, he stated that they should have spoken up sooner.
You don't have patient confidence and patient trust. You would have been having my here how many times? Right. Okay, especially when I'm doing this on 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, okay, with their parents there. But I'm obviously doing a doggone good job explaining things, okay, because what? Get it. Why didn't she say something if she was feeling violated in any way, shape, and form? There was no communication.
Okay. Nassar's abuse spanned over 2 decades, from 1992 to 2016. In 1997, MSU officials were initially notified about him, but they did nothing about it. Although USAG received a complaint about him in 2015 as well, they did not notify the authorities until after the 2016 Olympics. A victim spoke to the MSU president in court.
To Luanna Simon, I don't even know how you are still in the position that you are in. I don't know how you can still call yourself a president because I don't anymore. You are trying to manipulate people into thinking that you are innocent when you are not. As far as I'm concerned, you are just as bad as this monster that has attempted to ruin all of us, but he hasn't and you won't either. Larry, I hope you, Luanna Simon, Kathy Klages, and all of the USAG are scared because you have pissed off the wrong army of women.
In court, Nassar was confronted by over 250 accusers who provided compelling and moving testimonies.
And Nassar wedged himself between myself and my family and used his leverage as my parents' trusted friend to pry us apart. My father and I did our best to patch up our tattered relationship before he committed in 2016.
The victim's mothers also told a heart-wrenching story.
We got in the car and I said, and she started bawling. And I said, Chelsea, tell me what's wrong. And she said, Mom, he put his fingers in me and they weren't gloved. And I said, Chelsea, I was right there in the room. And she goes, you couldn't see what was going on, Mom. And she said, he hurt me. I had her see a psychiatrist and it didn't seem to be helping. There was a lot of self-blame. She got into drugs and she never really recovered. In 2009, she took her own life because she couldn't deal with the pain anymore.
Nassar's victims even included some Olympians who addressed the disgraced doctor in court. Among them was Jamie Dancer, and the 2000 Summer Olympics bronze medalist.
So-called treatments included, but were not limited to breast exams, stretching me while he would lay on top of me with his penis on my crotch, massaging me in very intimate places, and even placing his ungloved hand into my anus and vagina.
At first, Nassar entered a guilty plea, but subsequently, a letter was found in which he disclaimed accountability for his deeds and instead painted himself as the victim.
I was a good doctor because my treatments worked, and those patients that are now speaking out were the same ones that praised and came back over and over and referred family and friends to see me. They feel I broke their trust. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. It is just a complete nightmare. The stories that are being fabricated to sensationalize this.
But no one could have imagined what would happen after a victim's father spoke to the court.
To give you the opportunity to say that.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon.
When denied, he decided to take matters into his own hands.
Can't do that. That's not how our legal system works.
Court officers detained and removed the distraught father. The judge grilled Nassar during his sentencing.
The letter, which comes 2 months after your plea, tells me that you have not yet owned what you did. I wouldn't send my dogs to you, sir.
Larry Nassar was sentenced to 175 years in prison.
Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant. I find that you don't get it, that you're a danger.
However troubling some of the convicts in this list acted, of all of them, it was Isaiah Gardenhire's behavior in court that was most irking.
What are the factors found in MCR 6.106 and finds a bond in the amount of $3 million, cash or surety is appropriate. Go ahead and mute his audio video. Thank you.
Gardenhire, 40, is appearing in court today for his arraignment at Isabella County Court in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. The hearing is conducted via Zoom. The 40-year-old is charged with 12 counts, including 1 count of homicide, multiple counts of criminal sexual conduct, and charges of armed robbery and carjacking. His arrest followed a 2-day spree of crimes, starting when he allegedly sexually assaulted his ex-partner and killed her 13-year-old daughter. He then allegedly took 2 people hostage in a nearby apartment complex, assaulting one of the women before stealing the couple's vehicle. The next day, Gardenhire turned himself in as authorities conducted a broad manhunt. Judge Sarah Spencer-Noggle is the one presiding over the arraignment today. She starts by going over Gardenhire's long charge sheet, and the defendant pretends to sleep while she does so.
Count 1, homicide, open murder, statutory short form. Count 2, criminal sexual conduct. 3, weapon use. DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under statute if the assault is confinement.
He then yawns, long and dramatically, demonstrating his complete scorn for the court and putting the judge and attorneys in no question about it. Bravo to Judge Spencer-Noggle, who denies Gardenhire the attention he seems to be desperately craving, going on without missing a beat.
DNA to be taken upon arrest. The court may impose a consecutive sentence under statute, and it is also a Tier 3 offense.
Feeling disappointed by the lack of reaction, Gardenhire makes the same move once more.
DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under statute if the assault is confinement.
But it is disregarded once more. His conduct has been appalling thus far, and when prosecutor David Barbary gets the floor, it only gets worse.
In this case, due to the fact that Mr. Gardenhire is both charged with murder and the fact that he was on bond at the time in which the allegations occurred.
Barbary starts to describe how Gardenhire was on bond for a different accusation of sexual misconduct at the time of the crime spree, when the defendant abruptly stops with an extremely startling allegation.
Charge her with murder because she's the one who did.
You heard it right. Gardenhire claims that the said girl was killed by his ex-partner, whom he is suspected of abusing. As the judge and Barbary stare in disbelief, Gardenhire's attorney, Thomas Hausman, intervenes to stop him, sensing that this might not be the wisest course of action for his client.
Mr. Gardenhire, this is your warning. The court will mute your microphone if you speak out of turn again.
Judge Spencer-Noggle, fed up with the defendant's antics, gives him a warning and continues with the hearing.
Your Honor, we would request that Mr. Gardenhire be held without bond, or in the alternative, the bond be set at $2 million cash surety.
This time, the judge is harsh with him, and as she begins to chastise him, he instantly snaps at her.
Mr. Gardenhire, I'm going to ask that you behave in a manner that is appropriate for a court proceeding.
The judge issues a warning to him not to act out again. He gives her the finger once more, after which she directs that his audio and video be removed, which they do right away.
Go ahead and mute his audio and video. Thank you.
But Gardenhire doesn't stop there with his ridicule of the court. The hearing continues, and after more deliberation on the terms of the bond, Gardenhire's video stream is activated once more, and he proceeds with his childish antics by feigning sleep. The judge declares that the defendant's bond is set at $3 million.
What are the factors found in MCR 6.106 and finds that bond in the amount of $3 million, cash or surety is appropriate.
And with that, he raises his finger once again while continuing to fake sleep. Then with a mocking chuckle, he approaches the camera with both barrels, giving Judge Spencer-Noggle the full dramatic effect.
What are the factors found in MCR 6.106 and finds that bond in the amount of $3 million, cash or surety is appropriate.
His disruptive behavior finally causes the hearing to end early. Later on, Gardenhire enters a plea of not guilty to the allegations brought against him, receiving a sentence of 75 to 120 years in jail. During a subsequent trial, he is found guilty of killing 2 more people in a homicide that happened before the crime spree. Gardenhire's earliest scheduled release date is 2096, when he will be 115 years old. Gardenhire's crimes and courtroom behavior were particularly heinous, but they're just a tip of the iceberg that is courtroom drama. Click to watch the next video in this series where we see more viral moments in court.